Not everything needs a shine, after all. If you leave a Pelham Blue Gibson Trini Lopez guitar in the case for 50 years, it'll look like it was just delivered from the factory. But if you take it in your hands, show it to the sun, let it breathe, sweat on it, and fucking play it, over time the finish will turn a unique shade. And each instrument ages entirely differently. To me, that is beauty. Not the gleam of prefabricated perfection, but the road-worn beauty of individuality, time, and wisdom. Miraculously, my memory has remained relatively intact. Since I was a child, I've always measured my life in musical increments rather than months or years. My mind faithfully relies on songs, albums, and bands to remember a particular time and place. From 70s AM radio to every microphone I've stood before, I could tell you who, what, where, and when from the first few notes of any song that has crept from a speaker to my soul. Or from my soul to your speakers. Some people's reminiscence is triggered by taste. Some people's by sight or smell. Mine is triggered by sound, playing like an unfinished mixtape waiting to be sent. Though I've never been one to collect stuff, I do collect moments. So in that respect, my life flashes before my eyes and through my ears every single day. In this book, I've captured some of them as best I can. These memories from all over my life are full of music, of course, and they can be loud at times. Turn it up. Listen with me.
I say turn it up! Turn it up!
Part 1. Setting the scene. DNA doesn't lie. Dad, I want to learn how to play the drums. I knew this was coming. There stood my 8-year-old daughter Harper, staring at me with her big brown eyes like Cindy Lou Who from How the Grinch Stole Christmas, nervously holding a pair of my splintered drumsticks in her tiny little hands. My middle child, my mini-me, my daughter who physically resembles me the most. I'd always known that she'd someday have an interest in music, but drums? Talk about an end-of-the-trough entry-level mailroom position. Drums? I replied with eyebrows aloft. Yeah, she squeaked through her toothy grin. I took a moment to think, and as the sentimental lump began to balloon in my throat, I asked, Okay, and you want me to teach you? Shifting in her checkered Vans sneakers, she shyly nodded and said, Uh-huh. And a wave of fatherly pride instantly washed over me, along with an enormous smile. We hugged and headed hand in hand upstairs to the old drum set in my office. Like a weepy Hallmark moment, the kind those hyper-emotional Super Bowl commercials are made of, the ones that would leave even the hardest monster truck enthusiast crying in their buffalo chicken dip. This is a memory that I will cherish forever. The moment we entered my office, I remembered that I'd never taken any formal lessons, and therefore, I had no idea how to teach someone how to play the drums. The closest I'd ever come to any structured music instruction was a few hours with an extraordinary jazz drummer by the name of Lenny Robinson, who I used to watch perform every Sunday afternoon at a local Washington, D.C. jazz joint called One Step Down. A tiny old club on Pennsylvania Avenue just outside of Georgetown, One Step Down not only was a hotspot for established touring acts, but also hosted a jazz workshop every weekend where the house band, led by D.C. jazz legend Lawrence Wheatley, would perform a few sets to the dark, crowded room and then invite up-and-coming musicians to jam with them on stage. When I was a teenager in the 80s, those workshops became a Sunday ritual for my mother and me. We would sit at a small table ordering drinks and appetizers while watching these musical masters play for hours, reeling in the gorgeous improvisational freedom of traditional jazz. You never knew what to expect within those bare brick walls. Smoke hanging in the air, songs from the small stage the only sound. Talking was strictly forbidden. At the time, I was 15 years old and deep in the throes of my punk rock obsession, listening to only the fastest, noisiest music.
To keep listening to this audiobook for free, click the link in the description. It will take you to a free Audible trial where you can listen to this and many other books for free for 30 days.